You may have a growth mindset when it comes to building your business, but you might have a fixed mindset when it comes to your marriage after 20 years. The key is self-awareness. There's a marketplace for people that want a discount. There's a marketplace for people that want to do everything on their phone. But there's a much bigger marketplace for people that want the guidance, the trust, the personal attention, the person that'll smile and show up at the Starbucks and say, hey, let's go take a look at some houses. Let's go find your dream home today. There's a much bigger market for that.
What up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. And this week, we have awesome, legendary real estate coach Tom Ferry with us, my friends. I've been trying to get Tom on a podcast for quite a while, and I was finally able to make that work through a connection at the Gary V event in Florida. So isn't that cool how these things kind of tie together? You know, you meet Gary, get him on the show. Tom Hopkins is there in the VIP. I'm sorry, not Tom Hopkins, Tom Ferry. Tom Hopkins was on the show as well. Today, though, we're with Tom Ferry, and he knows his stuff. I mean, he's coaching some of the top real estate agents in the country. And I'll tell you, the stuff he's sharing right now is stuff that you need to start implementing right away. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of corporations, a lot of hedge funds, a lot of Silicon Valley companies that are trying to disrupt our industry, guys. They're trying to take our clients. And the stuff that Tom is talking about today is foundational, fundamental stuff so that we can get back in front of our clients again, so that when they think about real estate, who do you think they're going to think of? They're not going to think about Zillow, right? If you're out there and you're becoming the local expert and you're posting videos and you're doing social media and you're doing client events and you're door knocking and you're calling them and you're staying top of mind, when they think about selling a house, they're not going to think about Redfin or Zillow or anybody else. They're going to think about you. It's about taking that back. He shares some great strategies with us on how to do that, as well as the script every real estate agent should know. Really, really cool. The script every agent should know. And then the interesting thing too that he said we should be posting on Instagram at least 3 to 4 times a day. And here's probably one of my favorite things. We need to deliver so much value, or we need to focus on delivering so much value that it makes it easy for people to buy things from us. All right, my friends, super pumped for Tom and super, super pumped to share amazing coaching strategies. And if you haven't listened yet to the Gary V episode, I would go back and listen. I mean, actually, there's so many great episodes. So again, I just want to thank you. I know you've given me a lot of reviews lately, so I appreciate the reviews, appreciate you listening, appreciate you sharing the show, and anything I can do to help you, bring value to you, you let me know. Reach out to me. Shoot me an email, david@davidihill.com. Anything I can do to help, shoot me an email. The people that email, they know I respond, guys. I do respond. So sometimes it takes me a couple days, but I will respond. Again, I just want to say thanks, and I hope you really enjoy Tom Ferry. Hey, what's up, Masters? I am here with the legendary Tom Ferry. What's going on, Tom?
Hey, David, thanks for that introduction. I don't know about legendary, just a guy hustling, trying to help as many agents as I can achieve their goals.
Well, I love it. And the reason I say legendary, too, is if you're in the real estate industry, like most of our listeners, then you are legendary, man. You've helped a lot of agents, a lot of people build their business. You know, I watch you on YouTube on almost a daily basis, and it's just awesome what you do. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And hey, man, thank you for getting the good word out and sharing messages like this with so many great agents and inspiring people.
So first off, I mean, you have a coaching company. How many agents are you coaching now, Tom?
Well, personally, I only coach 5 different agents. All are in the top, 100 or, 1 or 2 in their companies. But as an organization, we coach about 70 to 100-ish members from mostly North America, scattered European countries, Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, South America, etc.
Okay, awesome. So I mean, you're all over the place. So I do want to get into the market right now. I mean, the market honestly is a little funky right now, right? And I had a call with Gary Vaynerchuk a few weeks back, and I met you at his event out in Miami, Agent 2021, yep. And disruption's coming to our industry, right? I want to get into some mindset and some coaching stuff later, but I want to start there, man. So what are the biggest changes coming to our industry? What are some of the challenges agents are going to be facing, or maybe they're facing now?
Sure. So I just spent a couple of days with about 165 leaders in the industry, all the major brand CEOs or chief marketing officers, COOs, et cetera, technology companies, MLSs, associations. And, there's a lot of fear, David. There's a lot of fear in the marketplace right now, especially at the top. They're nervous about disruption. They're nervous about agents leaving and starting new brokerages. They're nervous about, new brands that are being developed and how they are now recruiting away from the old guard, if you will. But I got to tell you, I think it's the wrong thing to focus on. The thing that I keep hammering with people is focus on delivering value to customers. If every one of your listeners would take the time to Google today, Jeff Bezos, his letters that he writes to his shareholders, Jeff Bezos being the CEO of Amazon, for 21 plus years, he has stayed central to one theme and one theme only in his business. And that is make it as easy as possible for people to buy stuff from you. Now, that may sound simple for a real estate agent to say, well, how does that relate to us? I would say, if you think about the 16 or 17 major milestones of a real estate transaction that a consumer would experience both on the buy side or the sell side. And if you ask yourself this question, where does it get sticky? Where does it get muddy? Where does it get hard for the client? Where do they get confused? Where do they get upset? And you actually said to yourself, I'm going to create a process, a better way of doing business, a better way of communicating with my customers so I can eliminate the pain points. And by doing so, making the process of buying and selling more delightful, easier. When you take the time to do that, when you take the time to basically stop saying, David, well, that's just how it's always been. My loan officer never calls at the right time. Or inspections are always horrible. They're always a challenge. Or, opening or closing escrows on time, it never works.
I'm going to jump in, Tom. And I get where you're going with this. I mean, I had Nobu Hatter on the show, and we talk about transparency, right? Bringing that back. Nobody wants to have this conversation right now, but the reality is there's a lot of changes. I mean, where buyers now are going to the internet before they go to the local agent, right? The buyers and sellers are seeing everybody on social media. How do we get back in front of these guys so we even can have that conversation about being transparent?
Well, so that's a totally different conversation. If you're talking about how do we stand out in this crowd, and David, you and I both know, the buyers and sellers have been aggressively looking online, the data says for the last 7 years. So that's not new. The question for every agent listening is, how findable are you? How much content are you putting out? It's not the consumer's fault that Zillow or Realtor or Trulia or, DingDing.com are doing a better job marketing than you. There's a 16 billion with a B ad spend happening in the real estate space every year, trying to drive consumers back to company sites, broker sites, all that stuff's happening. So what I would say to the individual agent is, what are you doing? How are you competing? Yeah, I mean, look, here's the bottom line. If you're not putting out daily 3 to 4 posts on Instagram, if you're not doing 15 stories a day on your Instagram and Facebook stories, if you're not creating one piece of anchor content every week in video that can then be transcribed into a text blog and an audio podcast and pushing that out and focusing on distribution, if you're not doing that, the reality is it's okay, but someone else will. Don't get mad.
Through social media, through these, so you said 3 to 4 Instagram posts a day, Instagram stories, Anchor, I'm not even sure what that is. What's Anchor?
Yeah, one piece of anchor content. So I started in 2007 talking to agents about creating their own weekly show. How's the market? What's going on in Honolulu? And even this morning, watching one of my clients from Jersey City, a few videos that she just published. Her name is Maureen, she's a fantastic agent. And, she was talking about what do you do when there's damage to the property because of weather. She's talking about like the Northeasterns that just hit the New York or East Coast, right? And she's doing that on a weekly basis. So David, when you start putting out content on a weekly basis that's high quality, that's interesting to the consumers, whether you get 300 shows or 300 views, or you get 3,000 views or 300,000 views, it doesn't matter. You become the knowledge broker. You become the source for those people. And what I would tell every one of your listeners is, Again, no one cares that you don't like doing video. No one cares that you think you don't sound good or look good on camera. Let me remind you, everyone in your database knows what you look like. They know how you talk. They know how you sound. Get over yourself.
Yeah. Well, ultimately what you're saying is we need to become the local expert, and that's how we can take this back. I mean, it's nuts when you see a Super Bowl commercial for Redfin saying 1% listings. That's disruption to our industry.
Yes, it is. And by the way, they have a lot of money to spend.
So how do we combat that?
So here's the deal. In every market, every agent and every brokerage has an opportunity to do a piece of the pie. So you're not trying to get 100% of every transaction. You're trying to achieve your goal, 30, 40, 80, 70, 10 transactions a year. The key is that you know who you are, you know the service that you provide, you understand the value that you deliver and the fees that you basically put out in the marketplace for your services, and you attract more of those people. My 18-year-old son, his girlfriend broke up with him about 4 months ago, and I said, partner, you know what you got to do? You got to kiss a lot of frogs. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, it's called prospecting, man. And you're not gonna fall in love with the first one. The mistake that so many agents make is they hallucinate that every buyer and seller that they meet should ultimately work with them. And that's just wrong thinking, right? If you look at, my friends at Boomtown, right? They're at like 2.2% conversion. My friends that run Zillow, even with the PAC program and everything else they're doing, they're still only converting 7 to 9%, which means that the balance say no to you. Like, it's the law of averages. It's the law of numbers. So people got to wrap their head around, there's a marketplace for people that want a discount. There's a marketplace for people that want to do everything on their phone. But there's a much bigger marketplace for people that want the guidance, the trust, the personal attention, right? The person that'll smile and show up at the Starbucks and say, hey, let's go take a look at some houses. Let's go find your dream home today. There's a much bigger market for that than just the discount broker, using Redfin as an example.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's just a percentage of people are, no matter what, they're going to go for the lowest price. There's another small percentage that no matter what are going to go for the highest price. And then there's all the people in the middle. I mean, we're coming back to some foundational, right, fundamental stuff with real estate now. We're going out and door knocking again, throwing those client appreciation events, calling your clients on a regular basis and targeting them, making sure your stuff is showing up on their Facebook feeds.
Yep, 100%.
And I think that's part of it, right? That's part of how we take this back.
Look, at the end of the day, you got to control the controllables, right? I can control how many people I call. I can control my messaging. I can control the emails that I send, the direct mail that I do, the doors I knock on. But I can't control if somebody wants a discount. I can't control if somebody has a friend in the business or wants to help out their aunt, or I can't control if they decide not to sell their house, right? So here's the fundamental problem. Most agents don't play in what I call a multi-channel lead generation strategy. They put all their eggs in one basket, right? They put all their eggs in Zillow. They put all their eggs in their database. They put all their eggs in door knocking or expireds. But what we know is, if I'm a good financial planner, the first thing I'm going to say is, David, we're going to de-risk by having 7 different ways that we invest your money. And I got to tell you, like, yesterday I spoke to the number two agent team for Coldwell Banker. Here's a guy that did nearly $500 million in sales. And when I reflect back on 10 years ago when we started and where he is today, did he become more polished? Maybe. Did he become a better leader? Sure. But the big difference between his first year with me, 18 to 53 transactions, is he went from being a one-trick pony, totally myopic, one way of generating business, to adding 4 additional sources. And he went from 18 to 53 transactions. We don't have a crisis in real estate with anything other than agents aren't doing the work. Agents aren't marketing, talking to people. They're looking for get rich quick. And David, you and I both know this because you've met enough people and I've been doing this for a long time. There is no get rich quick.
What up, Masters? I'm going to get you right back to the show. I want to share a couple opportunities with you. First off, my new training program I'm super pumped about. People have been asking me for years, guys. It's School for Realtors. It's an expired training. I'm giving you everything, my friends, every single thing that you're going to need to convert expired sellers in this competitive time. All right, I have every single script you're going to need. From the initial conversation, how to keep people from hanging up on you, to the closing script, right? We're giving you a copy of our pre-listing packet. I'm giving you emails that you can literally copy and paste templates. I'm giving you a 65-day email campaign, guys, that you literally copy and paste. Expired flyers, okay, 2 different marketing pieces. And we're giving you actual ads that you can use on Facebook. Guys, these are targeted ads that I've been using on Facebook where I'm generating people calling me and saying, hey, I see you guys everywhere. Yeah, why don't you come over and take a look at my house? So I'm giving you everything. This is called Expired School for Realtors. Simply go to schoolforrealtors.com. Costs you $149. I wanted to make this such a no-brainer because it's going to be the best investment you will ever make in your real estate business for $149. And here's a better thing. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So at the end, if you said, you know what, Dave, I just didn't get value in your expired training, then I'm going to give you your $149 back, and you still have all my material. So how's that work, right? You can't go wrong. Listen, everything is here, everything you need. And here's the last thing. We have a monthly call. You're part of an awesome community where everybody in the community has the same goals, okay? You're sharing things that work with each other. And I am logging in monthly and doing a live training for everybody. You have role play partners. Listen, this is everything you need. It's so simple. You go to schoolforrealtors.com, you get to download, and then you just start downloading. And I even made it step by step by step. All right, that said, awesome opportunity for you. And then finally, and we're going to get you back to the show, I promise. If you love audiobooks or if you love podcasts, you need to check out Audible. Audible.com is Amazon's audiobook site. You can get yourself a copy of Crushing It or any book you want. I would encourage Crushing It for free by going to davidsfreebook.com. Again, davidsfreebook.com. Get yourself a free copy of any audiobook you want on Audible. Yes, they're going to ask you for a credit card, but here's what you're going to do. As long as you cancel within 30 days, your credit card will never be billed. So schedule a reminder in your calendar 25 days out. And if for some reason you don't love the service, then you cancel and your card's never, ever charged. And you get to keep the book. Guys, listen, these are opportunities. How do you go wrong with either of these opportunities? Okay, listen, you rock. I just want to share that with you. So a couple opportunities. Schoolforrealtors.com and davidsfreebook.com. Enjoy the rest of the show. I want to shift gears. You know, I always ask every guest for a question or two. And one of the questions you had given me is you said is one script that every agent should use. Tell us about that.
You know, when the market really started to turn in 2010, 2011, and by the way, for the agents that have been around for a while, what we're going through right now nationally is the same exact marketplace we were in 2012 and 2013. Everyone was saying, there's no inventory, prices are skyrocketing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we came up with a few questions that really helped agents get out, generate more opportunities, whether they were texting, calling, emailing, or even in their direct mail. So question number 1, ready, David? It's, so David, good to talk to you. We've been friends forever, yada, yada. You know, we BS a little bit, we build a little rapport, maybe do the forward program, whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, David, I'm asking you one question. Hey, David, have you guys had any thoughts of selling? Have you guys had any thoughts of selling? And then you just shut up. Because when they go, that means yes. If they go emphatically no, you ask question number 2, well, then I got to ask, are you living in your dream home now? Are you living in your dream home now? And they're like, well, the truth is the backyard's too small and, you know, most of the bedrooms are too tiny, but, you know, we're just not sure. Like making a move is hard, even though my wife's been looking online, right? So you hear all these opportunities. And if they say no and no, it's fine. You go to the third question. Well, you must know someone who's had thoughts of selling. You must know someone who's had thoughts of selling. And, you know, that opportunity for a referral is great. And this is where people screw it up. They'll say, well, do you know anybody who's had thoughts of buying or selling? I'm like, you don't need another buyer. Buyers are easy, right? Stand outside and say, I have a home for sale that no one else knows about. People will stop in their cars. They will find you. Right? Buying has been completely democratized. Like that side of the business is way too easy. What we need is sellers. So you must know someone who's thinking about selling. And then if you really want to have some fun, and I recommend this really for your database, if you're really a knowledge broker, if you really take on that your clients where you feel you have a fiduciary responsibility to serve them, to guide them, to direct them, to help them make good decisions, to see the future, then you have to ask the question, hey, at what price would you become a seller? At what price would you say to me, well, gosh, David, at that price, we'd have to sell. We could finally move to Florida or whatever it may be. And you and I both know for people that are playing the long game, that's going to be inside your database, right? You're going to nurture that. You're going to remind them every, 4 to 6 months, hey, good news, prices are now at X. Has your number changed? We're getting closer. It's no different from somebody putting in an order with their stockbroker. Hey, when Netflix hits 400, sell it all. So those are the questions that we're recommending. And those that are doing it, it doesn't matter where you are, Starbucks, at the grocery store, calling a past client, meeting a friend, a buyer at an open house. That's how you win.
So it's just simply, have you ever thought of selling and shut up?
Have you had any thoughts of selling?
Have you had any thoughts of selling?
Yeah. It's all about the tone, right? Hey, David, have you guys had any thoughts of selling?
Got it. Love it. Writing that down. Yeah, right now, I have 380 agents in our office, and we are focused on listings right now. Everybody. I don't care if you're a buyer's agent. You're picking up the phones. We're focused on listings. So I feel like you absolutely nailed that. Talk about mindset. And here's what I want to say, too. I told somebody I had a call with you today, Chris Grant, good friend of mine. And the first thing he said, he's like, oh, I love that guy. Because he just shares everything on Facebook. He's like, I don't even know how he gets people at his events when he shares everything on like social media.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's a great point. I'll have to ask him. So why do you share everything, man?
So I made the choice in really 2009 that I was going to disrupt myself and our business by giving everything away for free. Everything away. Because here's the deal. Like, if you really understand the way my mind works, is ideas are easy. It's execution, right? That's where all the money is. There's a reason why the public libraries are basically empty most of the time. All the information is there, right, at your disposal. But it's the people that will walk in, grab the book, and go execute it. That's what's rare. So what I wanted to do by creating all the content that we create, and we've been doing this forever now, is I wanted to give away as much content as I can to naturally and automatically attract the people that are aligned with our values and our beliefs, and then we can go help them execute at a high level. Like, that's the game. And it's no different from what we recommend now to all of our real estate clients and mortgage clients and title and escrow and leaders that are trying to recruit, is you got to get your content, your information, your best practices out in the marketplace. And then what happens is they find you, they align with you, they call you.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, you just bring in a lot of value, and then when someone's ready, they know where to go when they need more value.
100%.
Talk about mindset, and I know we're going to get wrapping up pretty soon, but a mindset technique that this was another one of the questions you would give me, a mindset technique that you would recommend. So what does that look like?
So I probably have 30. I'll share just a book that I would recommend for everybody, and then, one personal discipline, maybe two that have served myself and so many others before me. So why don't we just start with the obvious, David? There's a wonderful book by Dr. Carol Dweck, Dweck. If you have not read this book, I strongly recommend it. The key is that you got to get to the second half of the book because that's where all the real magic is. She is a clinical psychologist, a therapist, and a lot of the book is called Mindset. In the beginning, is talking about this experiment she's doing with fourth graders where she discovered that they fell into one or two categories in terms of how they think, how they process, how they saw the world. One was called a fixed mindset, and one was called a growth mindset. So you can already imagine by those two titles, you know which group you want to be a part of, right? But it's context specific. Like, you may have a growth mindset when it comes to building your business, but you might have a fixed mindset when it comes to your marriage after 20 years. The key is self-awareness, right? I'm actually working with some cognitive behavioral therapists this afternoon and tomorrow. And I'm working with them because I'm just obsessed with how do you take that person in a fixed mindset, create the awareness that this fixed mindset around calling it expired, doing an open house, generating a Zillow lead, or this fixed mindset around altering their presentations or growing a team. We all have these stories in our head that stop us from really achieving the greatness that we all deserve. So read the book would be my first recommendation. And then understand that the process is very simple. Be aware of it. Hello, my name is Tom and I'm an alcoholic, right? As an example, like until you fess up to this fixed mindset is a problem for me, you're never going to change it. Number two, you have to learn how to eliminate the behavior, and we could spend an hour just on that. Number three, you have to then condition the new behavior, right? You got to condition the new behavior. No different from if you've ever potty trained a child. It's the same thing, right? We got to do it to ourselves. And then ultimately, you got to create accountability, both internal and external, to make sure that for at least 90 days, you ingrain it so it becomes a habit. So fixed mindset versus growth. If I could wave a magic wand, there's two things I'd recommend to everybody listening. Number one, I would tell you that if you're not working out 5 days a week, you're making a mistake. And everyone is going to have a fixed mindset conversation about this, me included. I've always worked out 3 days a week. I started doing 5 days a week last November. It has been completely transformative, not just in the physical side, but the mental side. The mental side of if I can work out 5 days a week for an hour and really like hone that part of my life, then making calls for an hour is easy.
Yeah.
You with me? It's a metaphor for life. So that would be one.
You're also creating some habits.
It's got to become a habit. The second thing I would tell you is, and this is old school for me, that is that every day, if you're not writing down 5 to 10 things you're grateful for, 5 to 10 things, and really getting into a state of gratitude, because from that state of gratitude, you eliminate a lot of the fear, you eliminate a lot of the anxiety, so many salespeople have. And here's the deal, like it only takes 2 or 3 minutes to say, boy, I'm super grateful for my friend Devin flying over from, Oahu today and spending some time with me. I'm super grateful that I live in a great country, that I'm married to a beautiful woman. I'm grateful that I have my health and vitality. And if you really get into that state of gratitude, it alters the way you think. But you and I both know, David, in our industry, there's way too many agents that are energy-sucking vampires. They walk in a room, all the living plants die, and at the end of the day, it's them. Carl Jung said, how we feel on the inside radiates the people on the outside. So if you're not taking the time to get your mindset right as a salesperson, then all your failures are 1,000% your fault and you should quit the business. But if you're crushing it, you got your mindset right first, and then everything else was a little bit easier.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And by the way, the book Mindset is on Audible as well. So for all of my listeners, you can get a free copy. Just go to davidsfreebook.com. You can literally get a free download from Audible, davidsfreebook.com. So thanks for that book recommendation, Tom. So kind of in wrapping up, well, I do want to ask you about this, because if somebody that has a fixed mindset, is it just taking action enough times? Like, I know this is probably an hour conversation. I'm going to ask you to wrap it up in like 30 seconds, but what would be the first step that you would tell someone with a fixed mindset?
Well, first of all, I would ask them, so David, are you seeing the impact this fixed mindset, in whatever area is having on your life? Are you satisfied with that result? Are you open to change? It all starts with that internal, people don't change until it's their decision. So you have to take the time with someone to ask them the question. So look them in the eyes and say, look, this is your life, man. You only got one shot. So you can tell me there are no perfect spouses out there, or you can acknowledge that you don't attract perfect people because you're not attractive. And I don't mean physically. I mean like in your heart and in your head. Taking the time to work people through a process like that, it takes time, it takes energy. But at the end of the day, that's where real change begins.
Well, hey, man, listen, I appreciate that. I appreciate you spending some time with us, and the way you're willing to share is amazing. The final question I ask everybody, Tom, is from this, everything we talked about today, what do you really want our listeners to take? If you broke it down to like one thing from today, what do you want our listeners to take from this interview?
Boy, I would tell you that the streets are paved with gold right now. I was just talking to a buddy of mine who's managing a $2 billion portfolio of real estate. And get this, David, he said to me, I need to sell everything between now and call it 24 months. And I asked him why. And he said, because I'm 50% leveraged on the $2 billion. He said, and I don't want to be in the same situation I was in 2007 when I was sitting with $500 million leverage and I could no longer sell that stuff. I nearly lost everything. And he's like, here I am back and going hard. The streets are paved with gold. But, Tony Robbins has been pounding on this one for a while that winter is coming. So if I was an agent listening right now, the first thing I would do is I'd go to my bank online and I would get real honest about my savings account. I'd get real honest about how much money I have in my checking account. And I would ask myself, are the excuses that I have for not prospecting, not making phone calls, not doing the work, are they bigger than that? Because if you think that it's hard right now, like if you think that it's tough today in this market, just wait till the market turns and then compound that if you don't have the savings and the reserves, right? Now is the time to be putting away a whole bunch of nuts, if you will, because if you're not saving today, if you're not making money in this market, damn, you're screwed.
Amen, brother. All right. Well, listen, how do our listeners, if they're interested in any coaching with your company or any products you have, Tom, how do our listeners get in touch with you guys?
Look, if you go to tomferry.com, that would be great. If you Google us, you're going to see I'm all over YouTube, Facebook, Insta, Twitter, you name it, I'm there. And look, we would be honored to engage with you. If this message resonates, then we're right for each other. If you think that I'm just a knucklehead, then please don't call.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate your time, Tom. You rock.
Hey, David, thank you so much for doing what you do, buddy. Keep up the good work and God bless.
Masters, if you know me, you know health and nutrition is number one, and that's why I'm an advisor for Advocare products. Listen, in my opinion, these are the best products on the planet, guys. You get what you're supposed to get, right? I use the products for health. I use the products for energy. I use the products for wellness. So we have all the different lines from Spark, starting your day with a great energy shot, all the way to pre-workout. It's whatever your goals are, right? It's whatever your goals are. You can check out the products at www.livelongersmarter.com. That's my website. Or reach out to me, and I'd love to have a 30-minute or, anywhere from 15 to 30-minute conversation with you, just talking about your health and nutrition goals and what I can do to help you achieve those goals. So again, products, energy line, wellness line, whether it's joints, you're getting up there in the age, you just want to take care of yourself. I'll tell you, one of the greatest compliments I get is people, you say, wow, you look amazing. I cannot believe you are the age you are. Weight loss. I've helped lots of people, guys, lose weight, not just lose it, but keep it off with the products. And the cool thing is, I'd say 75% of the people who start with our products, they continue using our products even after they initially tried them, which has been amazing. And strength, if you're into bodybuilding, then hey, Rich Fronin, okay? I don't know if you know who Rich Fronin is. He's an advocate for Advocare as well. So amazing products. You can see us. We're featured on NASCAR, professional soccer, college basketball, college football, Men's Health Magazine last month. These are the real deal, guys. LiveLongerSmarter.com is the website, or reach out to me if you, like I said, if you want to have a personal conversation with me, just send me an email. In the subject line, just put Advocare products, and I'd love, like I said, schedule a 15 to 30-minute call with you to talk about your health and nutrition goals. Guys, you rock. Live longer, smarter. And as Gary Keller eloquently said, if you don't take care of your body, where are you gonna live? You rock.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of the Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.